Pray for a swift death.
I thought it would be pretty cool to talk about some of the biggest story mistakes Tekken has ever made. I have a poll here with 283 votes. This is from Jim Mishimer. The first one on here, 65 votes. This is second place, and it's making Jin start World War III in Tekken 6. Here's the thing. One reason why I feel like the World War III plot doesn't make sense is because Jin did the World War III to create enough evil in the world to awaken Azel, so he can kill Azel. But it's like, why didn't you just not do World War III? You basically caused the equal amount of chaos that Azel would have caused if he awoken. So you basically destroyed the whole world, and then you awoken up this demon to kill him. It's like, why didn't you just not destroy the world and not wake up the demon, and then you wouldn't even have to kill him, because there wouldn't be enough evil for him to wake up, right? Unless I'm missing something, that's one of the biggest head spinners when you're talking about Tekken 6. But also, I'm hoping we'll see more of this in Tekken 8, but Jin failed. He tried to kill Azel and wipe him off the face of the earth, but he didn't do that. Azel survived, and Zafina had to trap the remnants of his soul inside her own body. And she feels Azel is slowly taking over. And it's like, you set out to do something and you fail, and what you tried to initially prevent, it might happen anyways. And then on top of that, you destroyed the whole world in the process, right? So there is a lot of weird situations when you talk about World War III. I can see why that is second place. And that's only focusing on Jin and Azel. There's so many other things you can talk about there too. 42 votes, this is number 2. It says making Lars the protagonist for Tekken 6. It would have been really cool to see Tekken 6 through someone else's eyes. I get that in Tekken 6 they really wanted to push Lars and make him this primary character, but you have to ask why. Why did they feel the need to make him the star? You know, you already have Kazuya, Heihachi, and Jin. You have Asuka, who's pretty much nothing. You have Zhao Yu. You have so many other characters who was there already, and you put Lars in this position where he kind of really didn't feel like he needed to be there. I don't know. I just feel like shoehorning him to the forefront of the story that way. Once again, it's something that didn't need to be done, but we'll have to see how it plays out, you know. I think there's definitely other characters who could have taken that protagonist role, like Jin Kazama. A lot of the plot holes is because it wasn't Jin Kazama who was the main guy, who was the protagonist. 35 votes on this one, reducing Asuka's role to a side character. This kind of goes back to the whole Lars thing, right? I think this all started when Lars showed up, because in Tekken 5, it was hinted that she had some great potential, and it was hinted that her story was going to, take off and really change the narrative, her having that ability to neutralize the devil gene. You wonder what that is, what it can do, but they haven't really touched on that for 2 games now. 2 games, that power has just been kind of irrelevant, and with the introduction of Jun Kazama, it's even more to the point now that her role is going to be minimized, because Jun Kazama is a better Asuka. I know people will dislike the video for that, but what I mean by that is they both have the same powers. Jun Kazama, from the looks of it, knows more about the power. Jun Kazama is more of an important character when you're talking about Jin and Kazuya. So it's like, and this is why I really think they're pushing Asuka so far away now, is because they kind of have to. They kind of have to commit to the idea if they want to bring back Jun Kazama. Her side story with Lily and Eliza and whatever else she's doing, hopefully that can be maximized and she doesn't really feel like a side character at the end of the day. But right now, it's like everyone feels like a side character. If you're not Jin, Kazuya, or Mishima, you kind of been relegated to a side character. And 76 votes, this is the winner of the poll. It kind of talks to this even further, but making Paul a joke character, Tekken 5 onwards. Now, I think this trend of Paul Phoenix being a goofball will continue. If you look at the Tekken 5 Pachinko slot machine trailer, I know this is not canon, but this is the most recent concept we have of Paul Phoenix. Tekken 5, he's a clown. Tekken 6, he's a clown. Tekken 7, his ending, he's getting chased out of the arena. He's the biggest goofball. In the Pachinko slot machines, he's at a diner with Law and Lucky Chloe. They're doing kung fu poses outside. They're riding a 3-person bike. It looks like in Tokyo. Like, it looks like he's going to continue to be a goofball, especially that they're partnering him up with Lucky Chloe. I don't know if that's like set in stone. One thing that I think about too, regardless of what character it is, someone needs to be the joke. Someone needs to be the goofball. And I think the character that Paul Phoenix was, that he used to be, that position is now being filled by characters like Armor King, Regular King, Marduk, Claudio, Haran. I wish they would do a 360 with Paul Phoenix. When I look back at the lore, he really looked like a cool, powerful character, but now it's like, I guess at the same time too, it's like he's suffering from popularity. This character is so popular. One of the most popular characters in the game, if not the most popular. So when you have a character that is so popular like that, their personality is going to say a lot about the game overall. So I think shifting that one character's tone will really change a lot about the whole game. And I don't know if Tekken is ready to do that. The community wants that. They want a more gritty, realistic tone in Tekken 8, but it's really up to the developers whether or not they do it. 49 votes for the next one, making Heihachi into the good guy in Tekken. Now this is something that I'm aware of, but I still consider him a bad guy. I was talking about Heihachi the other day, and I was talking about how he's such a horrible guy, and he's, a villain. He's one of the worst people. And I still stick by that. And the reason why I say that is because just because you're a good guy now doesn't mean you didn't do what you did in the past games. You know what I mean? Like, you can be all heroic and trying to get rid of the devil gene, and you could be trying to save people and all that. But a few games ago, you still were like being corrupt, being evil. Leroy Smith's story, he was causing war in New York City. Gang wars. It's like, yes, you may be good now, but you're past. You can't just swipe that under the rug. So I still consider Heihachi a bad guy, even though they tried. The reason why I think they tried to make him a good guy is because of Kazuya. They want Kazuya to be the main bad guy, the big threat, the big evil. And I think their idea is, if we make Heihachi a good guy and we make him seem like he's also trying to get rid of the devil gene, it would make the devil gene and Kazuya seem like that much more of a threat at the end of the day. And I don't think it really worked with Tekken 7, because everyone knows that Heihachi, like I said, he's done really bad things and he's supposed to be a bad guy. So you trying to switch him at the last second doesn't really work, 7 games in and you're all of a sudden like, let's make him good. Let's make him... No, it doesn't really work. If anything, it takes away from the character, because if Heihachi remained a really bad villain, and then on top of that, you have Kazuya, who was a worse evil, that would elevate Kazuya. But trying to make Heihachi good and then Kazuya bad, it just didn't work, in my opinion. Another poll that I want to look at here, it says, which part of Tekken's history is to you the most confusing and the biggest nonsense? 116 votes on this. 29 votes says, how the hell Kazuya and Jun made a baby in the fight. Now, I actually talked about this, or I read a comic. The comic that I read, it actually showed this in action. Going off of what happened in the comic, Kazuya was fighting Heihachi. He turned into the devil form, and then it looked like he started like firing meteors, or like, I don't know if that was supposed to be lasers, but meteors started falling from the sky. Angel showed up at one point. Kazuya was basically going crazy. And then Jun Kazama runs up and punches him. And then at that moment, I guess he starts feeling bad or feeling sad. And then he doesn't completely revert from the devil form, but he's kind of in this hybrid devil form. And then at that moment, he grabs Jun Kazama. They start flying through the sky. And they say something. We couldn't see exactly what they say because it was in Japanese. And then in the sky, flying above the city, they start having sex in the sky. And then I guess that is how Jin is born. That's when Jun Kazama gets pregnant. Is in that moment they're flying through the sky having sex. So I guess that's how they do it. I've been talking a lot about story lately, and a lot of other channels have as well. And I'm hoping in Tekken 8 they really take the time to try and tie together some of these loose ends and polish the story. We can already see them trying this by retconning Kazumi in the beginning, and they're trying to fix it that way, but I don't think they should just go around retconning everything. What they need to do is just really nail the ending, or nail Tekken 8. Just make sure that story is perfect. And I think the community overall will ignore or forgive the mistakes of the past, because we kind of already have, you know. We just want the future to be better. We're not really like, you can't change the past, is my point, right? So I think if they just focus on Tekken 8 and make that game the best as possible, people will be happy. But that's going to be it for this video. I just want to talk about these two polls briefly. I thought there was some good ideas in here. Hopefully you did too. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.